Whatever, love it.
So there have been a lot of rumors about Black Adam being in the new Shazam movie and played by The Rock. Is there anything you can tell about that? Or
No.
Nice try.
No, I can say that as far as I know, Black Adam is not going to be in the second Shazam because the idea is that they want to go and do a standalone Black Adam movie first, and then like this. So it would kind of be like if we get to do a third Shazam and a second Black Adam, kind of like that. Yeah, that's where we would, because he's like the ultimate bad guy for Captain Marvel and Shazam, right? Like Black Adam, like they're doppelgangers, right? They're the evil twin to who I am. So that's got to be like the final battle. If we do that in the second movie, then where do we go after that? It would just be a movie, it just us sitting around playing video games for the third one. That would be very boring, or not. I'm a very interesting video game player. So yeah, I think that's the idea. Is that that's the plan is to get there, but just to pace it out, however it needs to pace out. So yeah.
Okay.
Who's next?
Over here.
Again, thank you. I really appreciate that. There are. I don't know that I would agree with you that we're the best DC movie, but again, that's opinions and subjective, and I think that's a beautiful opinion to hold. But there's so many incredible DC movies that have been made over the many years of the DC movies that have been made. But I would say that we're probably, arguably, because again it's all subjective, but we might be the funniest of the DC movies, right? Because just by default, I mean, it's about a 14-year-old kid who gets, you know, a magic word to become this knucklehead, and then learn his superpowers and flush dance. I mean, that's ridiculous, and it's full of so much heart and humor, and therefore joy. So there's definitely that, and I'm really grateful that we got to do that. And I mean, as far as the lessons that are learned from the movie, one of the coolest things about the movie was that the movie genuinely has just so much heart. It has so much like the family that is the beating heart of the whole movie. I think that's a huge part of the lessons that we learn in that movie. Your family is not necessarily who you're born into. Your family is sometimes, and quite often, actually with almost everyone, right? Like even if you love the family that you were born into, how many people are in your life right now that you would call family that aren't your blood relatives? Even if you have a great blood family, you find family through your life. You find your tribe through your life, and that's a beautiful thing. And the movie speaks to that, and I'm really grateful that we get to do that. Moreover, it's one of the coolest, like, as far as diversity is concerned, it's one of the most insanely diverse films that as far as casts I've ever seen. It's a rainbow collection of ethnicities, but it's also like one kid who's disabled, and all of them are foster kids. I can't think of another movie that represents groups of underrepresented people more in one movie. Like, it's crazy. It's so cool. So that's stuff I think that we learned from. I think that, you know, learning that, you know, self-sacrifice, which by the way is a theme in most superhero movies. Like, you know, it is about sacrifice. It is about putting others in front of you and fighting for that and laying your life on the line. A lot of really beautiful things in all of that, you know. But I think that aside from the lessons, I think that one of the greatest gifts that we're able to bring people with Shazam is joy, which is sadly lacking in the world today. There's so many things that are going on, and in all parts of the world, there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of hate, and there's, you know, and we can work through it, guys. We can all work through it. I swear to you, I promise. I know it in my heart. We can work through all of this stuff. But we gotta stop being afraid of each other. We gotta stop listening to people who want to make us afraid of each other, and we gotta start holding on to things like love, like kindness, like empathy, like understanding, like patience, like joy. Joy helps us to get there. Joy helps us for our walls to come down and not be so angry. And I love that I get to be a part of things like Chuck did that, Tangled did that, Shazam does that, to bring joy to people. Like, as an entertainer, that's the biggest reason I even got into all of this. I was a little kid just All I wanted to do was make people laugh. That was it. I mean, literally, you would just wind my back, and I would just be like, you know, like all I wanted to do. I would not shut up. It was not a good thing. There was no off switch. But I knew that in my heart, all I wanted to do was something that was good, and now I get to do that, and I get paid for it, and that's super groovy. So yeah, that's a long answer to your question. Yes, over there. Yes.
Bring out his super persona.
Yeah.
What do you shout in real life to bring out your super persona?
I like that question.
You have no idea how much filtering I just had to do. Don't say that, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. Tequila. I think that's my... Because tequila helps me be that like salsa dancer emoji. You know what I'm talking about? In the red dress? Anyway. It's one of my favorite emojis. If you follow me on social media, you know that. I like salsa dancer. I quite like girl with hand like this, and also fingernail polish. Those are some of my favorites. They all mean something. Who's next?
Zachary, look.
Some nachos or popcorn because they want really to get in touch with you. They told me 5 minutes before and they have no chance to that.
Is there any chance for me to go eat their popcorn? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, hi popcorn people.
Oh, they got a special greeting. That was
The
nice.
popcorn people.
He asked me for that.
I am honored that you would want to give me some of that popcorn. I don't want any, if that's okay. I'm just not in the mood for popcorn right now. It's gonna get all stuck in my teeth. I'm gonna need some floss picks. It's gonna, you know what I'm talking about with the kernels. You ever gotten one of those little, it's because it's always that little teeny brown bit of the kernel, and it ends up down in your gums, and you're like, how is that ever coming out? I gotta believe that somehow your gums have the ability to dissolve it once it gets trapped down there, because I don't know how you get it out. You try to get in, you're trying to pick at it with a little thing, you're just tearing them all up, stays in there. It's dangerous. You're dangerous. You're tasty, but you're dangerous.
And the next one.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Just a small question because
I won't eat the popcorn, sir.
no worry.
Don't even try.
It's just a small question because somebody spoke about Shazam 2, other about Chuck. What about a cameo Chuck in Shazam 2 or something like that?
A Chuck cameo in Shazam 2?
Like that.
Don't think I haven't thought about it, sir. I still own one full set of the Chuck Nerd Herd outfit. I stole one full set when we finished the show for such an occasion. So maybe I'll slide it in there. I don't know. It's a little meta, but it could be kind of fun. I don't think that like if anything, it would be just like Chuck walking in the background. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like Chuck meeting Shazam. It would be Shazam somewhere, and then you just see somebody who eerily looks like me, wearing the full Chuck attire, running after some like masked assailants, and Shazam's like, "Wow, that was weird," and then that's it. That would be the whole Chuck campaign. But yeah, I think that could be kind of fun.
We're over here.
And now sugar.
I said you were the best panel so far.
Oh, that's giving me sugar?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were actually going to give me some sugar. Like some kind of like Kinder chocolate or something. So Shazam 2. Well, the truth is I don't really know anything. I mean, I know that I'm going to have a conversation with my bosses pretty soon about like what the idea is and where we're going with the new movie, but all I really know is that New Line, our studio, and Warner Brothers, our parent studio, and DC, and our producers and executives and everybody who's involved in all the decision making, they're all very happy with what we did. They want to do even better the second time around. And they are crafting a story right now as we speak about what that sequel is going to be. The only other thing I know is that I know they want to make it as soon as possible because those kids are growing up like weeds. So if we don't do that in the next 2 days, they're going to be full-grown adults. I mean, just to give you an example, so we did principal photography, meaning like the bulk of the filming of Shazam. We did that over the course of let's say 4 months or so in Toronto, Canada, and then we had about a 6-month break. We came back to do additional photography and kind of like massage certain bits and pieces here and there, add where we needed to add, subtract where we needed to subtract. And that was about a month of doing that. In the 6 months from when we stopped principal photography to when we started additional photography, Jack and Asher quite literally grew so much that they couldn't match their faces with what they looked like 6 months prior because they're like 13. Like that's the moment where hormones are like shooting through their body. They're like, I don't know who I am anymore. And their voices are cracking and stuff. It's so crazy. So if we don't shoot another movie real quick, then they're just gonna be, men will be one. There's no point in saying Shazam to transform. They're already transformed. You know what I mean? So that's all I can tell you about the sequel. But I'm very excited to get into it, making it. I hope you guys all really enjoy it when we do. Yes, over here.